Namaste, and this is Anand with the Rishikesh Writings, and today we have a guest, Raja Ram Ross.
Richard Ross.
Sorry.
Let's start again. We would love to be Ram, but Ram is very great. Raja Richard.
Raja Richard Ross.
Raja Richard is fine.
Raja Richard. Namaste, this is Rishikesh Writing, and today we are with Raja Richard Ross. Raja Richard Ross is from America, and Namaste, Raja Richard Ross. Raja Richard Rossji, how do you find the Rishikesh?
Well, I love Rishikesh, and I'm living here now because I love it. Rishikesh now has come to be known as the yoga capital of the world, and there are 300 ashrams here. And my belief is that every single one of them has some unique knowledge to bring to the world. That's why they're here. That's why people are coming from all over the world to Rishikesh as a kind of important spiritual destination, where they can learn about yoga. They can, if their guru is here or their teacher is here, they can come and study with their guru. And it's a beautiful opportunity to showcase the traditional wisdom of India in one place, one beautiful place by the Ganges. It has all the elements that make for a beautiful spiritual environment, and so I love Rishikesh.
In how that's if you would like to say how the Rishikesh changed your life.
It's not so much that Rishikesh changed my life, but it's what happened in Rishikesh more than 40 years ago that changed my life. And that was when my teacher, maheshyogi, came here and built his ashram on the other side of the river.
Yeah, this is also called nowadays we call it Charasi Kuchia,
Yeah, trust me.
and which is under the protection of the Indian Reserve Forest.
That's right. It's the Rajaji Tiger Reserve.
Rajaji Tiger Reserve.
So what we're doing here right now is helping them to develop the ashram, to bring in more visitors to Rishikesh. And the ashram has a special place in the history of Rishikesh, because it's really the first time in modern times when the West came so visibly to the east, to India, to sit at the feet of India's timeless spiritual wisdom. And they found that wisdom in the form of their teacher, maheshyogi. They had learned to meditate in England sometime before they actually met Maharishi. But once they met him, he invited them to come to Rishikesh. They had never been to India before. And so they had already been experiencing the knowledge that he had given them in a very practical form in terms of transcendental meditation. And they just wanted more of it, and they wanted to deepen their experience. And what better place than Rishikesh, where Maharishi had his ashram. So that's the reason why, that's what I get from Rishikesh, is that connection to the past. And I practice the same technique that the Beatles practiced, many millions of people practice. So that's the allure that Rishikesh has for me.
Rajaji, the boy who born in America, who's playing with the rock star and amazing light life and the fast life, moving traffic, and everything is a new, like technology basis. How did you fall in love with India?
My country is like a beautiful shining fruit. Everything on the outside looks very beautiful, very orderly, very clean. When you cut it open and take a bite, it's not as sweet as you might have wanted it to be. India is like a coconut.
Yeah.
It's a little rough on the outside, but when you cut it open and you take a bite, it's sweet. So the thing that's missing in America is the inner sweetness that India has. And the thing that India is missing is the outer we could say orderliness.
Yeah, so we can say it's a transformation. Like the transformation, like the America want the inner transformation, the India want outer transformation.
Exactly. And that's why the two countries have such a great potential for friendship and understanding and mutual cooperation, because both have what the other needs.
Yeah. Like the material want the Brahma, the universal consciousness, and the universal consciousness who already know it, so they are looking for some other thing.
Exactly. Well, there has been a lack of universal consciousness a bit in India over the past maybe even a couple of centuries.
Yes.
So, and that's one of the interesting things another thing that brought me to India was the fact that I discovered through the teaching of my teacher what is the essence of that sweetness that's inside, which many Indians don't know. Indians grow up in an atmosphere of there are gurus everywhere and sadhus everywhere, but somehow that inner experience has been missing for many people. And the result, as I see it in a way, is that India is plunging headlong into the Western values of materiality and gaining affluence, which is not bad, which is good.
Yeah.
But without being grounded in the inner value, then the same thing is going to happen to India that's happening to the United States. One cannot live and survive and be happy on the material value of life. So Americans need that inner sweetness that India is now able to provide. Yeah. And India needs the material know-how and the know-how of how to make affluence. And American can supply that, as well as many other countries.
How did you met your Guruji, maheshyogi in life?
Actually, I first met Maharshi in my first experience of transcendental meditation. Because what is a guru other than an experience that person, this particular person is having, which has fulfilled them as a human being, and naturally they want to give that experience to others. If you can find someone like that, it's good to study with them. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
So I experienced the essence of what Maharshi was and what he was teaching in the experience of the technique that he taught me. And that was that my mind can settle down. It can settle down to a field of perfect silence. Silence is peace. There's an Upanishadic expression, Shivam Shantam Advaitam Chaturtam Manyante Sa Atma Savijnaya. This is a description of the transcendental consciousness that one experiences during transcendental meditation. And that is the same experience that presumably Maharishi Maheshyogi was having because of the knowledge he got from his master, that then he wanted to impart to the world. Even though I was in Connecticut, USA, and he was all the way in India or somewhere else around the world, the essence of his experience I began to experience. And to me, that is the essence of the student-teacher relationship. That the student is able to experience what the teacher wants him to experience to grow in the same values and come to the same level of fulfillment that the teacher himself or herself. And if that can be communicated to the student, that's a beautiful relationship to cultivate, to honor, and to perpetuate.
And when you come in India, we read about you that's in a book, a magical book, that you have a great experience with the Mother Ganga. What's this experiences? Would you like to share with us?
I came to India in 1980. That was the first time I'd come. And I spent a few years in India teaching in the south of India, and I'd never experienced the Ganga. So my mother calls one day and she says, "I'm sick, please come home and take care of me." This meant going back to America. I was in the land of mother, land of mother. I have to take care of my mother. That is my first responsibility, so I'll just go and not be concerned, even though I wanted to stay in India. I get up to Delhi, and there are no flights available. So I thought, why don't I go up and have a bath in the Ganges for a couple of days? So I came up to Rishikesh, and I went down to the Ganga, and there was a little pujari there, and he said, would you like to do a puja to Mother Ganga? And I said, yes. He said, no, this is what you do. You make a sankalpa. The sankalpa is your desire, that you want to offer it to her, so that she will fulfill your desire. So I thought, I would like to have my mother be healed. Also, I was running around India for the past 6 months with a torn meniscus. It's this little cartilage that's inside between the two joints of the knee. And what would happen is my knee would pop out, and I would have to manually put it back into place. So I thought it'd be nice if that could be healed also. We don't want to ask too much, but you can't ask too much of Cosmic Mother. You know? So he says, so what you do is you go into the Ganga and you hold on to the. Actually, I have to say it was hard. I remember it was hard. So it was Harikpuri. So he said, this is in the middle of winter. It's very cold. Water is very cold.
Very cold. Water is very
and
cold.
And it's rushing past.
Yes.
So he says, you go in and you grab onto the chain. Yes. And then you dip under 3 times, and then you come out. Okay, simple enough. I go out, I grab onto the chain. Within a few seconds, I'm numb. So, but I noticed that my leg has popped out, my knee has popped out. Now, I had to put it together manually, but I couldn't let go of the chain. So I just straightened my leg out with using my leg muscles. I couldn't feel anything anyway, no pain or anything. Went under the other 2 times, came back out, sat on the banks of the Ganges. And as the numbness wore off, I began to notice that there was just some freshness in the feeling in my knee. Well, long story short, it has not popped out since. And it's just been completely normal. So I get back to Delhi, ready to take my flight home, and there's a message for me in the guest house from my mother. For some reason, for some miraculous reason, I am no longer ill. You don't have to come home. So I got back on the train, went back to Madras, and kept teaching. At that moment, this was the quintessential India experience for me. That there is this river that people would just call a river, but she is so much more than that. And India, Mother India, is so much more than that. And that's why I just keep coming back. I just want to be as close to her as possible.
Like when you saw the people around you, the persons and even a student come to you for learning transcendental meditation, what you said to them about the India? So like you gave you should come India, so you should take something with us. So what is that you prefer, you suggest to the students?
Well, as I was just describing to you, India for me is an inner experience. Even though it did have very, very clear material and physical benefits for me, but it's an inward experience, and that experience can be had whether one is in India or not, because it's something that you go inside yourself to experience. One of the reasons why India is such a beautiful place to have that experience, in my opinion, is that quiet value is still lively in the atmosphere, whereas you don't find it very much in the West. So it's a good place to meditate. It's a good place to do yoga. It's a good place to explore and deepen your spiritual experience. But I don't recommend that people necessarily have to come to India to learn.
What is the transcendental meditation?
Transcendental meditation, otherwise known as TM,
Yeah.
is a simple, natural, effortless mental technique, and this is an important word, that allows the mind to settle down, to experience its deeper, more quiet, And anyone can do this. All it requires, believe it or not, is the ability to think, which everyone can do. And because it's so easy and so simple, even a 5-year-old child can do it. And that 5-year-old child, after completing the 4-day course, is as expert in practicing meditation as even a yogi who's been doing it for 50 years in a cave in the Himalayas. Because it doesn't take any skill or effort or ability to concentrate or ability to push thoughts away, which varies from one person to the next. But this is a universal experience that anyone can have, simply by being able to think. And what happens is that when the mind settles down, then the mind becomes very clear. You understand a thing called signal-to-noise ratio?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you want is more signal and less noise. The ideal is all signal, no noise. When you've got a clear signal, then that is clear. For example, if it's a thought, you want the thought to be clear in the mind, not disturbed by a lot of noise. Unfortunately, today in our fast-paced world, there's a lot of noise that everyone is experiencing, not only externally, but internally. Transcendental meditation allows the mind to settle down and come out of that noise and experience what's really there in our mind, which is an infinite capacity for intelligence, energy, creativity. In fact, this is what the Beatles came to Rishikesh. And in fact, you may know that this is regarded, the time they spent in Rishikesh is regarded as the most creative period of their professional life. They wrote over 40 songs, many of which were in the best albums and so forth.
Even they write about the songs for Rishikesh.
Right?
Yeah. At the end of our interview, what message would you like to share with the world about the Rishikesh?
About Rishikesh. Well, I would say that Rishikesh is really a symbol of the spiritual potential of each person. And the whole spirit of Rishikesh is to come and look within. So I would just say that if you're looking for a very simple method of looking in, something that doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of skill, doesn't take any effort, really, then you would do very well with learning Maharishi's Transcendental meditation technique for the same reason that the Beatles did, and for the same reason that so many people followed them to Rishikesh, seeking the same inner experience. So just a few minutes morning and evening, and you can have that Rishikesh experience.
Namaste, it was a pleasure to see you in Rishikesh.
Namaste, Anand.
Richard ji. So keep watching us, friends, in Rishikesh. So you can follow us on rishikeshwritings.com, even on YouTube, Facebook, for keep updating. Namaste.
Anand,
I didn't blow it?